Wow. Good morning. It is so great to be here at AWE, celebrating new progress and ongoing enthusiasm in this wonderful field of augmented reality. Think about the last time you engaged with a really compelling AR experience. Maybe it was this morning. Certainly we'll see a lot of these here at AWE. I want to talk today about the evolving tools that we have to create amazing new AR experiences, with some exciting announcements and a little preview of something coming just on the horizon. Here at Snap, we've been working in the field of augmented reality for about a decade. It's an incredibly exciting field where innovation is driven by true partnership and collaboration between creative minds and technical minds. It certainly makes coming to work every day a real adventure. We love AR because it gives us the opportunity to see an experience rendered through our own point of view. The end result is a composition between our perspective and someone else's imagination rendered on top, the product of which is unique each and every time, which is what makes AR such a compelling format. And we see this resonate so clearly in our community. Snapchatters love augmented reality. Over 300 million people engage with AR every day on Snapchat. We introduced augmented reality experiences, or lenses as we call them, to Snapchat 10 years ago, putting AR front and center in one of the most frequently used cameras in the world. Then, shortly after, we launched Lens Studio, making the same tool that our internal team uses to build amazing, high-quality AR experiences available for anyone in the world to use. And we've been steadily evolving our AR platform ever since. We developed advanced face and body meshes to bring human AR to life. Landmarkers allow immersive world transformations at the scale of buildings and entire city streets. And capabilities such as cloth simulation, environment matching, and ray tracing bring enhanced realism to real-time rendered 3D objects. 4 years ago, we launched Camera Kit, extending the power of Snap AR's tools and technology beyond Snapchat, allowing partners and developers to bring amazing high-quality AR experiences into their own apps and websites. Through Camera Kit, we've seen AR magic all over the world, in concerts, theme parks, stadiums, and more. In fact, it's even here at AWE, powering the XR Hall of Fame. Today, we are officially launching Lens Studio 5.0. This is a major update. We rebuilt Lens Studio from the ground up. Projects load way, way faster. Teams can collaborate much more effectively. And my personal favorite, we now support plugins. Plugins bring enhanced flexibility and extensibility to Lens Studio. We've seen some creators build some amazing plugins already, and we're very excited that this new foundation will allow our team at Snap to develop features and capabilities for Lens creators much faster than we could before. So the result of all of this work over these past 10 years and our collaboration with our community has been nothing short of amazing. Over 350,000 lens creators have built over 3.5 million lenses. Each of these lenses is an expression of creativity. It's an endeavor by someone to translate their imagination into an interactive, real-time experience for others to enjoy. And our goal here at Snap is to improve and expand this process of translating imagination into augmented reality. We do this by developing cutting-edge technology and making it accessible through powerful yet easy-to-use tools. And with each new breakthrough, we ask ourselves, can we develop a new set of tools that allow even more expressive, even more imaginative AR experiences, while at the same time, tools that dramatically make it easier to build great experiences? Can we give our advanced creators even more creative space to work with, and that at the same time make it possible for any newcomer to quickly build something special and unique? Well, I'd like to introduce Lens Studio 5.0's new GenAI suite. Take a look.
All it takes is an idea. to create a personal transformation, or to reimagine your world. Breathe new life into the everyday. Or bring something brand new into 3 dimensions. And when you need help, just ask. GenAI Suite, now in Lens Studio. Dream it, build it.
Pretty cool, huh? OK, let me explain. GenAI Suite is a big leap forward for developing AR. With just text or an image, you can generate newly imagined 3D objects or real-time immersive AR experiences. GenAI Suite is launching with several features today. ML Face Effect and Immersive ML are effectively ML training pipelines. You describe how you want a face or a full scene changed, and we handle all the complexity of dealing with machine learning models. The data processing, the training, the optimization, so you get a hyper-efficient, visually transformative ML model that you can add to your lens. This is based on the same pipeline that we've used in the past to develop viral hits, like our cartoon lens. So if you haven't had a chance yet to train your own machine learning model, I promise you it does not get any easier than this. 3D asset generation and head morph unlock the power of 3D generative AI, allowing you to turn any idea into an AR-ready asset. And head morph is an extension of our 3D generation model, designed to specifically output face-tracked, movable, head-based experiences in minutes. Over the past few months, we've worked with a number of creators who've had early access to GenAI Suite, and the results have been incredible. These are just a few of our favorites. Personally, I love seeing creators mix these new machine learning outputs with all the other functionality that Lens Studio has to offer. Here's a tip. Try adding dynamic 3D objects to a lens and then rendering the whole scene through immersive ML. The end result is really cool, and it's something we've seen creators already start to play with. Over time, we'll continue to add powerful new tools, such as expanding from face to full body ML transformations and bringing generative 3D assets to life through motion. We'll have more to share in the coming months. Lens Studio 5.0 with GenAI Suite is a big milestone for us and for our community. It opens up incredible new creative opportunities, and it is so, so fun to use. It's available now, so definitely go give it a try. All right. I'd like to leave you with one final preview of something that we're working on. This is very much still in development, but I think it speaks to an exciting new direction for augmented reality, not just for us here at Snap, but the industry as a whole. I'm sure we've all been amazed and surprised by this quick, recent emergence of generative AI. Image diffusion models, in particular, have been especially exciting. These AI models generate, from text, newly imagined images. Oops. Let's go back. These models generate from text images like these, or transform existing images. It's a remarkable technical feat. And the more recent ones can do this in anywhere from several seconds to half a minute. We can imagine in the future how impactful these AI models may be for augmented reality, when you can render entire scenes as they're happening through generative AI. But for that to happen, we'll need these models to be significantly faster than what we've seen recently, on the order of 100 times faster, going from several seconds per generation to milliseconds. Well, fortunately, our team members here at Snap love and happen to be very, very good at accelerating machine learning models. So I'd like to show you a very, very early example of Snap's real-time, on-device image diffusion model. There we go. Let me explain what's happening here. These visuals were captured from a mobile device. this model is small enough to run on a smartphone and fast enough to re-render new frames in real time. There was a single model producing all of these effects. So camera frames are re-rendered, guided by a prompt through generative AI, giving anyone the power to instantly transform themselves or their world in almost any way at any time. I want to emphasize just how crazy this is. To visually transform a scene like this using traditional AR techniques would be an enormous challenge. We're talking about using techniques like face and body mesh, segmenting the background, understanding surfaces and walls, and then using advanced graphical techniques to create visual consistency across anything that has been changed. Creatively, someone would have to go in and design assets and effects for each of these elements. Here, one model is doing all of that in real time with a prompt that can be updated in any way. For creators, can you imagine what it'll mean when you have access to a model like this, when you can programmatically control the output and design interactive user experiences, or add 3D objects, animations, and effects on top of or behind the generation that's happening here? Snapchatters are going to start to see lenses with this generative model in the coming months, and we expect to bring this to creators by the end of the year. This and future real-time, on-device generative ML models speak to an exciting new direction, I think, for augmented reality, and is giving us space to reconsider how we imagine rendering and creating AR experiences all together. So I think it's safe to say that we will have a very exciting and fun next decade ahead of us. Thank you so much. And now I'd like to welcome Paige Piskin and Mike Boland to the stage for some discussion.
Yay! Thanks, Bobby. Exciting stuff. So now we're going to move into the panel portion of our session here. I'm Mike Boland. I'm Chief Analyst of Artillery Intelligence and Editor-in-Chief of AR Insider. And we also have, more importantly, Paige Piskin here.
Thank you.
So we've heard from Bobby. Paige, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? This audience, I think, knows you well, but for those unfamiliar, tell us about yourself and what you do.
Hi, everyone. I'm Paige Piskin, and I'm an AR makeup and character artist. I've been designing lenses for the last 4.5 years. I mostly focus on characters, and I've been working full-time creating, but I also create for passion. I've created hundreds of lenses, and they've reached, across social platforms, close to 300 billion impressions, and have been shared 1.3 billion times.
Wow. OK, so 4 years, hundreds of lenses.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a lot.
Yeah, yeah. So, Bobby, you showed some exciting things there, particularly AI integrations with Snap AR. So let's sort of delineate those two. More importantly, you mentioned the GenAI suite, right, and its integration into Lens Studio 5.0. You also, what you teased there at the end is also very notable. In a user-facing way, the ability to sort of conjure up lenses. Every user essentially becomes a creator on the fly. So let's delineate those two sort of flavors of AI, and we'll start with a GenAI suite. So Paige, you've actually gotten the chance to beta test this. You've been playing around with it. Tell us about that experience.
So a couple weeks ago, I got a chance to try some of these newest features. And for a while, I've been able to use some of the face ML, but recently the immersive ML, which is GenAI applied to your entire scene. It's been game-changing for me to be able to create the characters that I've wanted to create. I feel like it's the missing piece or the chef's kiss to make my effects look the way, or lenses look the way I've always wanted them to look. Also, being able to generate objects with a prompt has helped me greatly streamline my workflow.
Yeah. Now, in terms of streamlining, one of the sort of dreams of the integration of AI into any creative workflow is sort of utilizing some automation for some of the rote parts, freeing up your time to be able to have that hands-on creative work. Have you found that to be the case? And can you quantify for us in any way, productivity gains or being able to run faster, work with more clients, scale your own time, your lenses per day or per year, the numbers you already said are quite impressive. But in terms of being able to run that much faster for you as a business, as a lens creator that works with brands and clients, and how does that sort of improve your effectiveness?
So when I first started creating lenses, I was a 2D illustrator, and so I didn't have 3D or animation or any of those additional skills. I had to learn that over the last few years. Recently, I felt that maybe it took maybe weeks for me to create a lens that involved all of those different capabilities, especially if I was trying to add scripting to it because I had no experience with that. But with generative AI, I'm able to streamline so much of that work, and my time just gets brought down to maybe just a couple of days on something that would have taken weeks. I can generate objects, I can prompt ideas, and I can mock things up. I can even ask AI for assistance, and do you like this idea or not? And it can give me feedback, and sometimes it's maybe not that idea. So it's been extremely helpful in me streamlining my work so that when I'm working with clients, everything just goes a lot quicker.
So, Bobby, this seems to align. Everything Paige just said seems to align with sort of a philosophy at Snap since the beginning, and like the inception of Lens Studio inherently as a tool to empower creators like Paige to do that. How does this align with that just sort of long-standing? I mean, it seems like every Lens Studio update just does along the same lines. It just empowers creators to do more. It democratizes the art to more creators, and it allows advanced creators like Paige to just reach even higher levels. Like, how does what you've just announced sort of align with that philosophy?
Yeah, well, first of all, I mean, it's amazing to hear about your experience using Lens Studio and GenAI Suite, in particular these last few weeks. Absolutely, I think at a very high level, we are kind of in the business of trying to allow people to express themselves visually and creatively through new tools and new technology. And so pretty consistently over these last 10 years that we've been working in AR, any new breakthrough that is in the space of graphics and vision and machine learning with respect to creating and augmenting and editing pixels is incredibly exciting. And we can often find ways to build that into products or build that into new capabilities. GenAI in particular has been an exciting kind of new emergence for us and kind of our ability to think about creative experiences. For a number of reasons, but I'll give two. One is the visual effect of ML produces something that is much more kind of blended and in some ways like realistic or visually consistent than what we've seen in kind of traditional techniques. And so even dating back to our earliest ML lenses, like the ones that kind of turned you in an older or younger version of yourselves, like seeing a hyper-realistic version of that transformation isn't something that you would have even conceived of building in AR before ML rendering and these kind of new techniques came about. So just like creatively what you can do now with ML is really exciting. And then I think the other side of GenAI, which is super interesting, is to your point, it both stretches at the top end, like what creators can do, but because these models are inherently designed for natural language input from the beginning, they are much more accessible. And so many more people can kind of get started very quickly and prototype and iterate on ideas faster and generate effects that kind of hit at this sort of added creative space. So it's an exciting field for us for sure.
So Paige, beyond the productivity boost, qualitatively speaking, what are the things you can do now that you actually couldn't do before?
Yeah, so I've been creating character lenses for a long time, and I've been always getting close to what I've been looking to achieve, but never fully there.
Yeah.
By taking my characters and overlaying immersive ML, I'm able to tie it together, and it's like add an additional layer of style transfer on top that makes it look something almost cinematic. I can make something look like CGI, where the entire scene is CGI, all the furniture, your clothing, your hair, everything, and your character's face, or make everything look like it's in a comic book.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's the missing piece I've been waiting for a really long time that I probably could never have done on my own, using having to train my own models and all that.
Mm-hmm. Now, part of that sort of creative workflow that we've seen a lot of artists use when it comes to GenAI is sort of storyboarding or inspiration, or just sort of throwing out text prompts, testing out concepts, and really just sort of like developing that sort of creative process. I know that you've actually been doing that for a while prior to this, but it's sort of in a fragmented way, right? You go to Midjourney, you go to DALL-E, you do it there. Now, what's the difference now that it's sort of more integrated, it's baked right into the platform?
It's a huge time saver to be able to use everything within the software. I have way too many subscriptions to different tools at this point that are for different AI features that I've been looking or just using to enhance my work. But to have everything in Lens Studio just makes it so efficient and saves so much time, especially to be able to like ideate different immersive ML right on the fly and be able to see what you're going to get a few moments later.
Yeah. So I want to move on to that sort of second angle, Bobby, that you teased. But before I do that, anything you want to react to there?
No, I'll just add that this property of ML to amplify original creative work is really fascinating to me, and we love seeing examples where artists come in with their own unique styles,
Yeah.
kind of original perspective, and then use ML to amplify that to scale it to any hundreds of millions of people all around the world. So it's really fun.
So back to that thing you teased, where it's basically being able to use text prompts to sort of conjure AR on the fly. Like I said, it's any sort of user becomes a creator. And it's interesting, if you pan back and look at that philosophically, it sort of creates an expansion or a new track of AR. The AR we've come to know is preordained, it's painstakingly created, and that's not going away. But it adds another sort of serendipitous, on-the-fly sort of use case. So what's the thinking behind that, Bobby, and any use cases you can sort of envision for like where that's used? I can probably see it a lot in education. It makes sense. Where are the places you hope that creators will take that?
Yeah, I mean, I think part of the fun is that we don't know all the ways that this is going to be used, and that's why we're really working hard to get it in the hands of creators as fast as possible. But I'll give kind of a couple thoughts. So first is like we do think that this will be very powerful for creators, like being able to have access to a model like this and programmatically update it or do things that are in response to context or user input or user interactivity. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. Secondly is I think there's maybe a parallel with probably video editing, video creation, where 20 years ago it took specialized tools and hardware and software to be able to create and edit videos, and over time you sort of filled out this wider space of allowing anybody to make their own content, still leaving a lot of room for, in the case of Hollywood, hundreds of millions of dollars to go into like really big video projects. But I think with AR, historically, it's been something that's been a little less accessible. Like there's a certain learning curve that's required to get up to speed and be able to take your imagination and turn it into an actual experience. And so I think kind of filling out the space and allowing more people to play and get excited about what they can do, and then kind of build up the experience and learning curve is going to be really, really fun. So I think there's a lot we can do. And then maybe one last thing I'll say is, because there is one model, technically speaking, on the device that is capable of kind of rendering all of these experiences, I think the opportunity to create hyper-reactive lens experiences. So maybe to speak in technical, it's like if one lens today is a package of assets and models that is sort of downloaded on device and then used to run that single lens. But if you have a large base model which is capable of running a bunch of different lenses already packaged into somebody's phone or device, then I think the opportunity to create lenses that are super adaptive or responsive to anything a user may be doing on the fly, like an infinite number of lenses effectively in one, should open up some really fun creative opportunities.
And Paige, from your perspective as a creator, how do you feel about this development in terms of adding to what you do and building these highly tuned lenses to building something that's more of an ML model that puts some of the optionality and the creativity in the user's hands to sort of run with it and enter prompts to sort of create their experience?
I love it. I think it's extremely creative for storytelling and immersing yourself into the content. I always vision that the next big thing would be that it's just video that we're generating with a prompt, but to be able to be in real time jumping into a storyline and transforming it and seeing yourself in that story is just groundbreaking. And for me, as a digital artist and a character artist and storyteller, it's amazing, and I'm looking forward to being able to see people becoming part of my story in that environment and as a character transformation.
It makes sense as an evolution. I mean, GenAI started with 2D images. It's moving into video with Sora and Luma and others. Its expansion into 3D and thus AR lenses makes a lot of sense. Now, with all of those things I just mentioned, and Bobby, you alluded to this, the sort of technical capabilities to deliver it, and the load balancing, and the cloud delivery, and the on-device processing, and all of that, you guys have people hard at work, it seems, working on that to just actually be able to deliver it?
We do, yeah. It's a pretty significant technical effort to be able to bring these capabilities, in a scaled way. But we're really excited about the progress we made. And the nice thing is that there's this kind of fun overlap between the faster these models get, the more efficient they get, the better we can enable creativity and the sort of creative iteration that is sort of natural to, I think, artists and creator workflows. But secondarily, we get the benefit of it is cheaper and more possible to run these at scale. So I think we put a lot of work into efficiency.
OK. So we only have like a minute here. I want to tee you guys up for a final question. And we're here in LA, so I want to ask you this, Bobby. I've always wanted to ask your executive team about the founding principles of Snapchat. It's a very LA company. It's very much tapped into its support of the LA art scene. That's really just sort of rich in the culture of Snap. And one of the things that lenses do, if we sort of pan back, and it's certainly evident in a lot of these evolutions as well, is really empower artists to do things like monetize their work, to scale their exposure, to do things that transform the medium itself to something that was once very static, to something that is dynamic, that is recreated with every use. So speak to that, each of you. Paige, from the perspective of a creator, and Bobby in terms of the tool creator to enable all of this.
Sure. Do you want to start?
Sure. So as an artist, I think it's always been my dream to see more, see people through my lens. And so being able to create my art as an immersive experience, I'm able to see the world transformed into my own style. And I get to see people tell their stories through my lens and be able to become these characters. And I imagine for other artists out there who have unique styles that are just stunning and would be amazing to share with the world, it's going to be so exciting for them to be able to see the world transformed into their style and see other people create through their eyes.
Yeah. Bobby, final word.
Yeah, I love this question, and I love everything Paige said. I'll add one of the things that I personally love about augmented reality in comparison to other art forms. Like if you think about a video or an image or even a VR, say, experience, a creator has complete control over everything that somebody sees from the consumer or the viewer side. And so on one hand, that is a very empowering thing because you have total control over the experience that somebody gets. In AR, you're ceding a lot of control, which means that you're only providing some of the end experience, and the user, the end viewer, the engager of AR is providing their own perspective and their own interactivity on top of whatever you've made. So the end result is this, it's this kind of merging of pixels between what you've made and what someone else has made. And I think that makes AR inherently such a fun thing to put out into the world because you're not just putting out a static thing, you're kind of seeing what comes back. You're seeing how people are using whatever you've made to apply it in kind of unique and fun ways. And some of the most fun that we've had is actually putting something else out and being surprised by what comes back in terms of people's use of it. And I think this kind of inherent interactivity just brings a lot of fun out of people. I mean, I sit on the couch all the time and play with lenses with my 5-year-old son, and it's amazing that just seeing his own face transformed immediately brings out like a silliness to him and a desire to sort of want to play and have fun, and I think that's very inherent to the format.
Yeah. Well, that's a great place to end it. We're out of time. Please join me in thanking Paige and Bobby.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you. Thanks, Mike.